Shutterstock Music.
Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Black College Experience. I am one half of your Black College Experience team, Derek Thomas, down here in Baton Rouge, and I have on with me the founder of Black College Experience, the one and only Keisha Kelly. What's going on, Kels?
Hi, everybody. It's another week. We've come to the weekend. It's the closeout of a busy week. So much has gone on. We were off last week. Hope everybody enjoyed their Easter weekend. Yep. Again, a lot has gone on. We have hopped into it. So much going on. We got baseball. We got track and field. We got tennis. Got boat. So many things have gone on, and it's a lot going on. So we won't really, we really won't delay. I guess tonight's lineup. Of course, I'm going to go over some highlights from, the invitation to Career Day for Black College Experience. Also, the conference that I attended. We're going to get into some bowling information, some new coaches, some release of. We'll talk about Marquette King being released, which really came as a shock to many. And for the amount, it wasn't even worth it. We'll talk about some pro days, some baseball and softball updates, and we'll catch some tennis, track and field somewhere on the end. So I guess we'll kick it off with me. I did get the opportunity to do Career Day on last week, and it was very, very interesting. You're in basically in a theater and arts type school.
Right.
And you have so many different people, and I don't know how you remember your career days, but I remember college days, career days when I was in high school. We always ran to the table, had the cups, the pencils, all the trinkets. That's what you looked for. And I never realized the importance of actually getting the information and trying to network until after the fact. So now it's more so, you're more cognizant of what you're doing when you're at those tables. When I'm talking to these students, I'm telling them exactly what it is, exactly what they need to do. I'm telling them, hey, if you want to do this, you can do this. And from this standpoint of radio, going to college, going to HBCUs, you're explaining to them like, hey, if you want to play pro ball, whatever it is that you want to do, one, you do not have to go to a Alabama, a Auburn, a UGA, a LSU, a Mississippi. You don't have to go to those big schools. No, I'm not knocking those schools, but I'm going to let you know that you have kids that have come out of these schools. You have Tariq Cohen's, you have Chester Rogers, you have these kids that actually have been drafted and that are playing pro ball, and then you have kids in other sports that are playing pro ball at different levels, and they're doing well. So it's like, right. You don't have to come out of those schools. And that was the thing. And so my highlight kind of was, not only did I, of course, use Chester and Tariq as the football people, but when you talk about basketball, I used Morehouse as the signature piece. Morehouse and Clark. More so Morehouse, because, I'm asking the question, how many people know that the Falcons lost Super Bowl 2 years ago? Everybody knows that. Okay, so how many people know that Morehouse was nationally ranked the whole season during basketball season? Okay, nobody knew that. So, that was, explaining to them the whole purpose was for the exposure, the whole purpose. And they were so excited, and they looked at it like, oh, okay, so I see the point. And it was like, it's so true. So, just explaining to them the whole purpose and just kind of laying it out, letting them know exactly what it was, did really well. Had some other opportunities, some other things that we talked about, but it was just really great to share that experience on that end. Now, as far as the conference on yesterday, this was Minority Trailblazers in sports. This was like a piece of heaven on earth, just getting to sit in the mix of, so many African-American women and men that are really just running things in sports. I mean, you had everybody from, Kennesaw State to University. I mean, you had so many people. You had the commissioner from the CIAA, Jackie McWilliams. So she was there. I got a chance to listen to her. Interim athletics director from over at Alabama State. It was just so many people in this, and I did not realize until yesterday. I did not realize, and this is my bad, that associate athletic director at Morehouse was a female. Her name is Katara Key. So we got a chance to sit down and we talked, and we're doing some networking. But this was like a conference where you actually got in and you got to hear every side of sports, working in athletics, being an athletic director. How do I get into it? Got a chance to talk to a scout from New Orleans. The scout from New Orleans, he used to play for, he actually used to play for the Detroit Lions, and he was talking about that side of the business and scouting and how, like, working for athletes and transitioning. So it was just a day of recollection, a day of just getting, like, all of these people. I mean, associate athletic director to vice for whatever was over from Alcorn, Jason Cable. Jason Cable and I went to high school together, and we still laugh at this. I lie to you not. Jason graduated from high school in '98. Jason went on to play basketball for Alcorn. I did not see Jason again till they played at Celebration Bowl that first year. That was the first time I saw Jason after he left Huntsville. So, and then I'll see him like every now and then. But it's when you get to recollect and see these people over and over again, right, and listen to their stories, and they're telling all the different things and the journeys and all the places that they've been, it's always a breath of fresh air to see us, someone of color, in these positions.
Exactly. And being that you said that, I grew up with Prairie View's athletic director, Ashley Robinson. I've been knowing him since we were in junior high. And to see him, we went to college together, and to see him doing the things he's doing, it's proud to see, HBCU alums doing well in the field of athletics, and then you're at home doing the good work. You came back home to represent and work with HBCUs and to continue the legacy that helped you get where you're going. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
I mean,
Correct.
It's awesome.
And you build, and so talking to the AD from Kennesaw, he was talking about his different stints in different places and how he went to Alabama. And it was so funny because, I can relate, you can relate, your line brother can relate. All of us went to HBCU, so we understand. So he says, if I'm having a conversation with somebody from Alabama, you just say it like this. He said, but, he went to FAMU. He worked at FAMU as well. He's right. Like, when you're talking to an HBCU person, you got to add some flair. We understand that. We understand it's a different conversation. It's the same conversation, but we're going to say it in a different way depending on who we're talking to. Exactly. And we understand that no matter how big or small the HBCU is, it's still in the same bracket when we walk in to have a conversation. It's still the same magnitude when we're talking to somebody. I don't care how big the school is or how small the athletic department is. It's still the same magnitude because at the end of the day, it's all for the same purpose. And everybody agreed and said the same thing. It's at the end of the day, we take it home with us. It's all for the purpose of the student athlete. We're doing everything we can for the athlete.
Yes, indeed. And we got my line brother on, Patrick Perry. He just clicked in. What's going on, PP?
Not much.
What's going on up there in the Delta?
To add to the show, I would have loved this weekend because the hotel that we were in was Sigma Nation. They just blew everywhere. Just all I saw was blue. And we walked. We're like, what is going? They took over that hotel. They hollered and screaming next door, and we in here trying. But it was a really great time. You walk out, you just see signs and campaign and blue and just everything. But they took over the hotel. Really, really nice. Really nice.
Yes, indeed. But Kel, before we jump into sports, you kicked off another a campaign also with the Black College Experience T-shirt.
I did. We kicked off this campaign that ended on this week on Friday. T-shirts for the official Black College Experience T-shirt. It was a 2-week long campaign as a pre-sale. I didn't want it to run longer than that because we want to go ahead and get the T-shirts out, get them printed, get them done, get them sent out for this first round. I think maybe somewhere around $60, $65, over $1,200. So, wow. It's one of those things where you can actually see where your progression is going, and we will be able to award the first ever Black College Experience scholarship for the fall. So, yeah, I'm really excited about that. It had a lot of impact. It was so funny because the day that we started, I texted my sister, and I was like, nobody has bought a T-shirt. And she felt sorry for me. Of course, it's my twin sister, so she feels sorry for me. She said, all right, I'll buy 2 on Friday. But by then, I think I had sold like 15 or 20. But she sure enough, she felt sorry for me, and I was glad she did feel sorry for me. But by the end of it, we were good. I was like, she was like, it's the first day. And I was like, I know, but I'm used to it. And that's me. You're so hard on yourself. I'm hard on myself. So I'm like, I'm expecting more. But it did. It went really well, and you just move on, and you just say, next time, okay, cool, it's going to be more. But we did. So I'm really excited to see where this actually ends.
Well, I can't wait to find out who you're going to award to and have them come on Black College Experience and talk about how they feel about getting this scholarship. I mean, they're making history. They're going to be the first ever, Black College Experience Scholarship Award winner, and, I can't wait to find out, who it is and, how they plan to use the money. I just think it's awesome, Kels, what you're doing. I'm just glad to be on board with you to help, make the dream come true. I mean, you've been humping it, man. You've been going to camps. You've been going to events. I mean, you really been working hard, and it's gonna pay off for you, and it's gonna pay off for some blessed HBCU college student. That's gonna be the benefit of your hard work.
Thank you. Thank you so kindly. Now, I'll try not to cry behind those words later because I am that emotional person. I always cry behind them later.
I'm that emotional person. While you're on the app.
Yeah, we'll cry. We always cry about those type of things. When you sit back and think about it. Yeah, exactly. You think about it later, like, oh, my God. But, yeah, I really do. I really appreciate it.
So, all right, let's go ahead and get it kicked off, Kels. First topic.
Let's do it.
I wanted to talk about, of course,
Go ahead.
We do have spring sports, but we do have some basketball All-Americans to discuss, and it's good that of course basketball season has been over for a couple of weeks, but you still want to give kudos to the young men and women who worked hard in the classroom and worked hard on the hardwood. The first All-American team I want to talk about is the Black College Sports page, 2017-2018. College basketball all-stars, and the first team is Tawan Kinley, a 6'4" senior guard out of Morgan State, R.J. Cole, a 6'1" freshman guard out of Howard, Tyrese Walker, a 6'1" senior guard out of Morehouse, DeMontre Jefferson, Mr. Muscles, a 5'7" guard out of Texas Southern who just showed out in the NCAA tournament until Texas Southern got eliminated. And also Robert Davis III, a 6'1" senior guard out of Justin C. Smith. The second team, the coaches was Dante Jackson out of Grambling State and Ricky Jackson out of Claflin. The second team was Brandon Tabb out of Bethune-Cookman, Jermaine Merrill out of Hampton, Ivy Smith out of Grambling, Brandon Morris out of Benedict, Martavius Knight out of Arkansas Pine Bluff. The second team was Quincy January out of St. Aug's, Kendarius Ash out of Lane, Gary Blackson out of Prairie View, Charles Williams out of Howard, and Savon Goodman out of Shaw. They also had a women's team, and the first team was led by SWAC Player of the Year Joyce Kennerson out of Texas Southern, Alexis Johnson out of Virginia Union, Shakayla Hill out of Grambling State University, Tiffany Valentine out of Spring Hill, and Genesis Lucas out of Coppin State. The top coach was Terrell Robinson out of NCAT, and also Anne-Marie Gilbert out of Virginia Union. The second team consisted of Najee Pollard out of Delaware State, Shayla Dobbins out of Prairie View, Jewel Hill out of Spring Hill, Angela Golden out of Bethune-Cookman, Alexis Smith out of Virginia State on the second team. The third team was Kayla Roberts out of Norfolk State, Chance Graham out of Coppin State, Tia Wooden out of Tennessee State, Rachel Picola out of Virginia Union, and I was going to be mad if they didn't list this young lady because she's a warrior. Southern University's own Brianna Green on the third team of the Black College Sports page All-Americans. Box to Row also listed their All-Americans. They just had the men listed. I'm just going to run through these right quick. You're gonna hear some familiar names. first team was Gary Blackson out of Prairie View, R.J. Cole out of Howard, Rasheem Davis out of NCCU, DeMontre Jefferson out of Texas Southern, Tewan Kinley out of Morgan State, Jermaine Morrow out of Hampton, Martavius McKnight out of Arkansas Pine Bluff, Ivy Smith out of Grambling, Brandon Tabb out of Bethune-Cookman on the first team, second team, Philip Carr out of Morgan State, Dante Clark out of Texas Southern, Zachary Hamilton out of Prairie View, Christian McCullough out of Tennessee State, A.J. Mosley out of Alcorn, Jared Sam out of Southern, Charles Williams out of Howard, Desmond Williams out of Florida A&M, and the player of the year was Texas Southern's own DeMontre Jefferson. What a season for Jefferson with the trials and tribulations that he went through to lead his team to the NCAA tournament. And the coach of the year was Jay Joyner out of North Carolina A&T, Kels. Congratulations to all the basketball All-Americans.
I think that's awesome, and I kind of want to go back and highlight on Coach from Grambling. I think that it's awesome that you come in as a first-year coach and you can do that. And, being that they didn't go to be able to compete, but to win the actual conference, your first year says a lot about him as a coach. So who knows what it'll be like next year. But I think that says a lot for everybody that actually made the team. It's an honor, but I think just highlighting that coach in particular is definitely a high for them.
Well, speaking of Coach Jackson, he also won a National Coach of the Year award. He was named the Ben Jobe National Coach of the Year, and he is the first ever recipient from Grambling to win the award. And like you said, Kels, they were the SWAC regular season champions. And unfortunately, due to our PI issues, they weren't able to participate in the tournament. But this just fused Coach Jackson's fire and the rest of the Grambling State Tigers' fire for next year to right their ship and, prove that, hey, next year this is not going to stop us from representing the spot that we rightfully earned. To participate in this SWAC tournament, but you gotta resolve the issues in the classroom. So Coach Jackson will also earn the National Association of Basketball Coaches Division I District 23 Coach of the Year. He was also the SWAC Coach of the Year, and let's see here. And like I said, he led his team to the SWAC regular season championship. So the first winning season since 2005, 2006. So Grambling doing big things in all sports. Doing big things on the football field, doing big things in women's basketball, doing big things in men's basketball, pretty decent baseball team. Grambling is just, churning right along, riding their ship in all sports, Kels. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that Grambling would be winning in more than just football. We know them for football, but now they're turning into a basketball school on the men's and women's side. So, go Grambling, I guess,
I think, again, I think it's really good that that you can actually come into your own. And so we'll see what happens with sports because they're doing pretty good. I want to say for baseball too. So we'll see what happens, throughout the seasons and, being as far as being competitive, across the board.
Right.
No, let's go ahead and take a commercial break.
Let's go ahead and take a commercial break. Okay, we'll take a commercial break. We'll be right back in 31 seconds with more Black College Experience.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's gonna happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with more Black College Experience. Kels?
Yeah,
Kels, you there?
Hello?
Yeah, okay, there you go. Of course, you talked about bowling, and we have bowling. The NCAA tournament in bowling is on the way for the first round. and the next rounds will take place April 12th and 14th. But we did have some early action with Bowie State and Texas Southern, in the lanes. And Bowie State was eliminated by St. Francis. The Bowdoin team fell to St. Francis 2-0 in the opening round of the NCAA tournament at the Holiday Bowl. The Flash outlasted the Bulldogs 9-11 to 6-98 during the traditional match play, while also winning 5-0 during Baker match play. So congratulations to Bowie State for having a successful season, but they have been eliminated from the tournament. SWAC champion Texas Southern was also eliminated. Let's see here. Let's see who eliminated Texas Southern. Can't find an article, but they were eliminated. But there's one HBCU team still standing, and that is the North Carolina A&T Aggies, and they
are the 6th seed.
They're the 6th seed. I mean, they're the 6th seed, and they will play against Arkansas State. And, the teams that are included are Nebraska is the 1 seed, McKendree is the 2 seed, Arkansas State is the 3 seed, Vanderbilt is the 4 seed, Sam Houston State is the 5 seed, and North Carolina A&T is the 6 seed. And Texas Southern was eliminated by Lincoln Memorial. So, the top 8 will be, of course, we just named the first 6. Then you will have Lincoln Memorial and then St. Francis. And one thing I like about this bowling, I mean, of course, we know in the bigger sports, we're separated, of course, by, money. So bowling is a sport where an HBCU can compete with a PWI. And like you said, like I said, North Carolina A&T, little old HBCU is a 6 seed. So, it's good to see us being able to compete. Even though some of these schools don't put a lot of money behind their bowling teams, they still are bigger schools than HBCUs, and we're right there with them competing in bowling. And you know me, Kels, how I am about women's sports. I'm a savage proponent and strong proponent of women's sports, regardless of the ability to make money, because these young ladies are student athletes, and they deserve all of the praise heaped upon them for the hard work that they put in the classroom and the hard work that they put in on their sport, whether it be in the bowling lanes, whether it be on the golfing greens, whether it be on the volleyball court. So, to see an HBCU competing with the likes of an SEC school, a Big Ten school, and another Group of 5 school in Arkansas State, I just think that is awesome, regardless of the sport, Kels.
And 3 things from that. It's like I've been saying, North Carolina A&T will be in the MEAC, one of the most competitive schools. Mm-hmm. We saw that. They've competed in football. They've competed in basketball. They dominated track and field. They completely dominated track and field this past season. And now you're seeing that they're going into bowling. So they're one of the competitive teams out of the MEAC, per se. The second thing, most people don't know this. Like tennis, you can go to school on a full scholarship with bowling. People just don't realize, and they don't really get into it. But it's one of those sports that you really have to start paying attention to.
Exactly.
Third thing with that, I was having this conversation with somebody else in media yesterday. When you get these non-revenue generating sports like bowling, tennis, golf, things that are not football, basketball, baseball, when you get these kids are so excited when you come out and support them. They're so excited when you show up to their tournaments, their matches, their games, to see them play baseball, volleyball, softball, track and field, whatever it is. They're so excited when you come out and watch them, because once again, it is our duty as alums to support them. These kids are out there every week perfecting their craft. They're putting on for somebody. And even if you don't watch golf or you don't watch bowling, somebody has to be there to support it. So, I said yesterday, and I continue to say, just because I might not like hockey, does not mean other people don't. It's a lot of people that like these sports that are actually watching and waiting for updates on these sports, which is why we have to continue to pump it out, because somebody is waiting on this. And somebody said, that jokingly, they was like, Kels, you literally find every sport in. I was like, because there are kids at these schools playing these sports, just because we don't talk about it.
These kids have parents and family members
correct,
that want to revel in their success. And if we can give that family member or that friend an avenue to where, like saying their All-Americans names, you aren't going to see them on ESPN. ESPN is not going to broadcast the Box Row or the Black College Sports page All-Americans. But guess what? We will. And if this show gets shared to some of those family members, to Jefferson's name, you will hear him on both All-American teams that recognize HBCU sports. And that is our mantra. That is our mission. And I'm just glad that, I'm able to participate and to, give some shine to these young student athletes, because they deserve it, Kels.
Correct.
People, you got anything you want to say about that?
Oh yeah, I'm just thinking about I've been to a few of the Valley baseball games and stuff like that, and some of the parents, drive out. One drove out from Texas to support their son. Another one, we got a freshman from Dominican Republic.
Wow.
And his father came all the way to see a couple of games. So, like you said, just because they're not on TV doesn't mean, people are not supporting it. People still, if you come out, if they come out and, these baseball players, the softball players come out and see a stand full of people supporting them, that makes them feel good,
Right.
Correct.
Come out and see that.
Right. Because we all want somebody cheering for us. We all want somebody cheering for us. And to hear that somebody coming away from the Dominican Republic, and then you got us, we sitting on campus 2 minutes away from the place, and we don't even want to get up and come watch. So to hear that speaks over volumes. And that's true. When you look in, they're so appreciative when they look up and they see people out there supporting them. Like, I could see that when I watched basketball, when I watched Morehouse, as they won all season. You talk about doing sometimes when you only got 40, 50 people versus you got a standing room only gym. Like, people really go out and when you support these kids, they're really excited when it's a sport that does not generate revenue. So that's why it's like, okay, if I have nothing on my schedule, I'm gonna go out and watch a softball game. I'm gonna act like I'm your parent. I might embarrass you. I might scream and embarrass you. But if you out there playing and you're at HBCU, I'm going to cheer for you. I don't have to know not one person on the team. I might embarrass you and treat you like you're my child, but I'm going to make sure that we out there to represent for you, because somebody has to do it, because in hindsight, everybody does not have a parent that's going to come out there and support it.
Right. And it's funny you say that. I was listening to ESPN radio today, and I just want to highlight this. And it was a show called The Hangout. A guy named Shake and another young lady, and the guy was like, I watched a MEAC softball on TV the other day. I didn't know they had softball in the MEAC. Kels, I was filming. I wanted to call in so bad. Like, really? It was North Carolina Central versus Florida A&M. He just seemed like he was so shocked that an HBCU softball game would be on television. Well, I found one. I found the show. I tweeted him. I was like, tell him stop hating on HBCUs. We have sports. We're worthy to be on television. Who knows? Pretty soon, we're gonna probably be on TV even more once the FBI gets done with some of these big money programs. You know what I mean? So it just kind of drove me that he just was acting like we didn't deserve to be on television, to where someone could watch these athletes. And I made sure I let them know in my tweet that don't disrespect HBCU sports. Just because we're not Cal State Fullerton or a big name program, Arizona State in softball or baseball, Our student athletes work hard, and they deserve recognition. And I'm just glad that ESPN decided to show that softball game because if it's on ESPN3, that means the family members of those student athletes can watch their child play. So for some family members can't get to a game, and it's good that was aired on ESPN. And I just had to let him know, like, don't be hating on HBCU sports, being shocked that it was shown on television. My rant's over. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it does. I think I did see the tweet, and that's the thing. And for people that have not been keeping up, I tell you, right now in softball, just to kind of throw it out there, Shaw is doing some amazing things, and if you're not watching Bethune-Cookman, they're running away with it. Like, their softball team is killing it. And I'm talking about if they playing 3 games a week, they killing all the opponents 3 times a week. I don't care who it is. They are demolishing their opponents. So their softball team is solid.
Albany State is 12-0 in the conference, and so is Spring Hill, 12-0 in the conference in the SEAC.
It's going on. But let's talk about this Marquette King deal. A lot of people are shocked with
that the Raiders released him?
Yes. And if you look at it, it was less than $3 million. Like, I'm thinking, like, okay, it's going to be a massive amount. Less than $3 million? And you release him, and he's been there for, what, 7 years? That's where he was.
And he's been a high-performing punter. I mean, scored
a high-performing. And so everybody's like, well, we'll take him. We'll take him. We'll take him. We'll all take him. But we'll start with you, Derek, your opinions on it, and then Patrick, your opinions on it.
Well, when you look at Marquette King, he gives you a punter that you can do more than just punt with. He can take off and run. He will make tackles. He's a big punter. He's not afraid to stick his nose in there. So, he ran. I think he ran for a crucial first down for the Raiders on a fake punt. So you have to be mindful of him with the ball in his hands. Not just for him kicking the ball, but with that in those trick plays in mind. And you know what? At first, I was like, that's the AFC West. My Chiefs in the AFC West. I was sad to see him get cut, but I was like, yes, we don't have to deal with those long, booming punts anymore. But I knew someone was going to pick him up. I don't know what Gruden's problem is. Why he decided to cut this young man, but the Broncos picked him up, and Marquette King is say he's out for revenge. I don't know how much revenge he's gonna get being a punter. Maybe he just gonna coffin corner of the Raiders as much as he can, many times as he can, whenever they play the Raiders twice a year. Just don't coffin corner my Chiefs, Marquette. If you ever listen to the show, because I follow you on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? I'm a big fan. I've seen some of your documentaries, on your pregame and your dancing moves. Might need to get you to teach me some dancing moves. I'm glad you got picked up, and get your revenge on the Raiders, man. But take it easy on my Chiefs. PP.
The stuff that when they cut him out, you knew it was Gruden come in. What he did was similar to what Chip Kelly was doing when he first came in there. So that means when you start cutting big name players, stuff like that, you better make sure you win. Because as we saw what happened with Chip Kelly after 2 years, it will come back to bite you.
Gruden in his 10-year contract. And let's say this, King averaged 47.4 yards a punt and third in net yards and 42.7. Third. This is the top 3 NFL punter that can flip the field for you. He says he's still gonna dance and celebrate. Still gonna be him. So, Kels.
Yeah, it's so funny because when I looked at it, I was like, well, it's not gonna take long to pick him up, and you see it didn't take long.
No, it
and he's definitely gonna be seeking that revenge. But I think once again, like we were all in the state because, like you said, you're talking about a top punter. You're not talking about just some trash and everybody, and that's where you start and that's where you've been. So everybody's kind of looking like, okay, well, we'll take them in. It's just like Patrick said, now you have no choice but to win now. When you start doing stuff like that, now you got to prove a point. You got to make us know why you did it. But it was definitely a shock. Like I said, definitely behind the amount of money. If you were talking about 10, 12, 15 million, yeah. Less than 3 million, yeah, well, you got people making that just a contract. Right.
Well, apparently, per the article, they say sources are saying that King's personality is said to have rubbed new Raiders coach John Gruden the wrong way, despite the two men have never met. I mean, Gruden is an exciting guy. King is an exciting guy. They're both hype and passionate about football. You would think they would get along, but something about King drew Gruden's ire, but now he has to face those punts twice a year from King. So I'm just glad that this young man who represents his HBCU oh so well in the NFL is going to get a chance to continue his punting career. And I got a feeling that the Broncos are going to try a fake punt against the Raiders. You should watch. They're going to try a fake punt. King is going to be itching to stick it to the Raiders. I got a feeling they're going to try a fake punt, and he's going to score a touchdown against the Raiders. Watch. He's going to run a fake punt and score it. He's going to pull a Brad Wing. That's what he's going to do.
Well, we will see.
But let's see where else we want to talk about today.
We're going into Pro Day.
Oh, yes. NFL Pro Days. Okay. We all know April, the draft is this month. So, but we had HBCU Pro Days all last month and some this month. Southern University, the top three HBCU prospects are Southern University's Danny Johnson, South Carolina State's Darius Leonard, and North Carolina A&T's Brandon Parker. And, of course, the Grambling Tigers have had a few prospects showcase their skills and get noticed by pro days. But, I don't have any stats from the Southern University's pro day. But more than Danny Johnson participated, tight end Dylan Beard, quarterback Austin Howard. Let's see who else participated. Few offensive linemen.
Jamar Mitchell and Aaron Tiller.
Yes. So Chuck Baker.
From what I'm told, Danny Johnson will not be the only person that will be drafted from Southern University. That's just, I'm gonna drop that bug out there. This is just from what I'm told from. Just know that he's not the only one. Aaron Tiller is high on the charts at this moment. They're really looking at Aaron. So we rooting in the back. We rooting in the background. We rooting in the corner for this one. Dylan Beard also, from my understanding, had a great pro day. Jamar did fine. Austin did fine. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And this is my second time missing the draft. Last year, of course, it was my sister's wedding. This year, I got some other stuff I'm working on, so it's like, okay. But I have had the opportunity to actually experience the draft. But, of course, we'll be cheering from the sidelines. But I'm excited to see what's going to do. I want to say that Devontae Kincaid had a pretty solid workout. Now, I do want to touch on this, or I'm sorry, if y'all want to talk about this pro day, and then I want to go over to Alcorn because I'm seriously concerned about Alcorn.
Right. Well, yeah, we want to talk about Darius Leonard. Darius Leonard basically stood on a lot of his numbers. He wasn't able to do a lot of the drills because he got hurt at the combine. So he went through all the on-the-field work, and he's had a few meetings with the Dolphins. The Cowboys are interested. And the top HBCU prospect is again coming out of North Carolina A&T, Brandon Parker, had 10 teams there to watch him. He completed 21 reps on the bench press. 17 teams were there instead of 10. And he's humongous. He can play guard. He can play tackle. I think they're going to look to kick him inside. That's what they like to do to our HBCU offensive linemen until they've proven themselves. I hope Brandon gets a chance to prove himself at either position, because if he can play both positions, that just gives him a better opportunity to stay on the roster. And then, of course, Grambling, yes, Devontae had a pretty good workout. He ran a 4.640. Marcus Carter ran a 4.5 40, but you know the one who took the cake was safety Montreal Meander, who ran a 4.44 40-yard draft. So congratulations to that young man. Hopefully he can, become a sleeper and get selected. Now, we just ran down those 4 pro days. On to the reservation, Kels.
Okay, so on to the reservation. We know that how important pro day is. We know how important these these workouts are, these combines are. We know how important all of those are when you get in front of scouts. And I've had the opportunity to actually sit down with scouts and actually watch them monitor. And you never know what they're looking for, who they're looking for, or when they're looking for what they're looking for. So you have the situation with Alcorn. You talk about a back-to-back-to-back team, a team that has repeated championships. You talk about a team that has won and has been productive. You can't deny it. But then you have no scouts show up to their pro day.
Right.
Now, you look at, Mark, you look at Turner, you look at some of these people, because at this time you have Lenore's Footman that's also out there. You have so many of those athletes out there that need to be in front of scouts, and they went to USM the week before.
Right.
And granted, you can always send highlights and they can always find you, but I'm concerned as to why you went to USM. And don't get me wrong, because a lot of people do it. I saw Morehouse use Kennesaw State. People use Southern all the time. But if I have the opportunity to use my own field and the scouts can come to my school, I'm not going to somebody else's school the week before.
Well, right. And like one young man, offensive lineman, he went to Mississippi State. What's his name? I have it here. 6'6", 300-pound offensive lineman named Timothy Gardner. You have a quarterback like Footman, who probably will play either running back or may shift over to defensive back or maybe wide receiver in the NFL. You have Delance Turner, who had a pretty good showing at USM's pro day, but at your own field, the players who did not go to other pro days, they didn't get a chance to get scouted or looked at. Yes, scouts come through Alcorn, but none at the pro day. And in one of the social media groups, Collins Moore, Alcorn, former Alcorn tight end, also former Ole Miss Rebel wide receiver, they said he was grateful that Ole Miss let him come back for his pro day because Alcorn did not have one. And he just said that, they didn't plan one. And, I hope that's not the case. But hopefully that ship can get right. Alcorn has too much talent. And you have to forgive me by me saying this, PP, because y'all know I'm not an Alcorn fan, but I can't be biased. Alcorn has too much talent on the reservation. They are the 4-time SWAC East, oh, Lord forgive me, 4-time SWAC East champions for a reason. This year, the quarterback that was behind Footman may be a better pro prospect than Footman has ever been. Alcorn brought in a lot of decent recruits. They had a lot of winning tradition. So someone should have sent some scouts. The CFL, the AFL, the Spring League, someone should have sent a scout. These other football leagues that are starting to form should have sent a scout for a championship caliber squad. It bothered me. A lot of people wanted to make jokes, crack jokes about it, hee ha ha about it. But at the end of the day, it's a slight to all HBCUs. Yeah, we know Grambling had their pro day, you know what I'm saying, and they had pretty representation. but your sister school had none. And yeah, you can joke and kiki haka about that, but that's something that we don't need to have for the SWAC East champion to not have any scouts come up and scout players. That bothered me. That didn't sit well with me. There's nothing I can do about it. But
the thing is even if they weren't the champions, just in general, not having representation and not having scouts there, and you're knowing that there's so much talent there, is just a slap in the face. And again, who do you blame here? And again, like I said, this is not because someone was saying, well, this is on the league. It's not on the league. It's not. This is something that you decided to go over to USM. You made that decision. So this is the point where you say, okay, are we going to stay here and house it at our school, or are we going to go over here and take it upon ourselves to go over here? And I'm just assuming. I can't say what was the motivation.
Well, if you take College Moore at his word, the coaches didn't plan it, you're left with no choice but to find another pro day to go to. The players can't plan the pro day. So the players.
Okay, so you didn't let me finish. You didn't let me finish. I was saying I don't know who is left up on. No, of course they didn't plan it. That's why I said it falls back. I was saying it falls back on the coaches or whoever is in charge of that. Right. So somebody dropped the ball where they needed to. Now I get the players taking that part upon themselves, but at the end of the day, I'm just going to assume that they figure, okay, well they might have a better shot going over to USM. Maybe they think it's better exposure. I don't know because you think about it. They're it's Coach Hobson. You think about it, but either way, like you said, it's nothing you can do about it. But it does. It's not a good look, and it's we know it's talent at Alcorn. We all know that, and I think it's in hindsight. I think it's unfair, and you hate to see that because you don't want to think somebody getting skipped over or left out. And granted, they said that they still seen who they need to see like the week before, but you still gonna think like, okay, well, what if? But it was just kind of, it was strange, really strange.
I agree, and let's just hope that this incident doesn't happen next year for the Alcorn State seniors who have showcased their skills to show that they maybe have become some of the top players in the SWAC, and where they can get some buzz and potentially, earn themselves a free agent contract or work themselves to become a draft pick. Like you said, we will have more football leagues. The Alliance of Football starting next year. The XFL coming back in the year after that. And, of course, we have Arena already. And then the Spring League. So, it's just going to be more opportunity for our HBCU athletes to showcase their skills. So, anything else on that, PP?
Sorry. Go, Patrick. I'm sorry.
The coaches, whoever playing now, they don't want to drop the ball because it's going to be real. Okay. Grambling has put players that have been drafted the past couple of years. They have a few players in the league. Southern has a few players in the league. At this point, like I said, I don't know why Alcorn decided to hold their own pro day. All I know is the past few years, Jackson State, Valley, and Alcorn held their pro days at this pro performance facility in Madison, I believe. It's in Madison County. Yeah, they usually hold their pro days there because it's what is it? The scouts usually come from Ole Miss and Mississippi State to come and see the athletes there. Yeah.
Well, if it's not my mistake, the last time they had it there, the scouts didn't give the players a fair shake. I think, to my knowledge, correct, PP? It was.
So what happened? What happened? What happened there?
I think the scouts stayed there. I think they came late and didn't do it. I don't think they did stay there like maybe an hour or so and like left or whatever because they was late coming from Mississippi State. I think that's what happened, but still, I don't think Alcorn by themselves can. They'd be better off. I mean, I'm always been Jackson State, Alcorn, and Valley. The best thing for them to do is hold a consolidated pro day. Then you got the other schools like Belhaven and Delta State, Mississippi College, all in the same area. So you would stand a better chance of pulling some scouts if you hold a consolidated pro day that way than trying to do something on your own, because until you start putting players in the league on a consistent basis, taking a chance to see what happened to Alcorn.
Right. You're right, LB. I mean, I do remember that consolidated combine they had, a pro that they had, and like I said, even with that, the NFL scouts or the scouts that were there did not give those players a fair chance to showcase their skills. And like I said, that's we don't need that to happen. That's a slap in the face to our HBCUs. No, we're not Alabama. No, we're not Clemson. But guess what? The greatest wide receiver in the NFL history did not come from Alabama. The first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl did not come from Clemson. Sweetness, even though he's not the number one in yards anymore, arguably the greatest running back to ever tote it in the league, HBCU. You know what I'm saying? You have countless others who are Super Bowl MVPs, team MVPs. Some of these, like Arden Key from LSU, ran a 4.8. You know what I'm saying? That's slow for quote-unquote high-end NFL pass rusher. You had some HBCU prospects run faster than him. You know what I'm saying? I know that's just more than a 40 time, but if they have the athletic ability, it's up to those coaches to try to get it out of them. So you better stop overlooking our HBCU athletes, NFL and football leagues, because you're going to miss some gems. And like I said, HBCU athletes, I've always said this, I feel like the HBCU athlete is going to be more humble than a PWI athlete, because they have to scrap hard. They have to work hard. And, Devontae Kincaid is an example. He came from PWI. He didn't come down here thinking that anything was going to be given to him. He worked hard, and he embraced the HBCU experience to the point to where it's going to help him earn a chance at a pro career. Had he stayed at Ole Miss, probably would have sat the bench. But he left Ole Miss, came to Grambling, and became a 2-time champion, and is on the cusp of being able to realize his dream and become a pro football player. Kels, anything else?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, so let's see here.
Softball.
Yeah, softball. All right, so we talked about the SEAC softball standings. In the conference, Albany State leading the East with a 12-0 record. Second, Claflin 9-4, Benedict 7-5. Fort Valley State 5-7, Clark Atlanta 3-8, and Payne winless in the conference in the East, in the West in the SEAC. You got Spring Hill undefeated at 13-0, Miles at 8-2, Kentucky State at 5-8, Lane at 4-6, Tuskegee at 4-8, and Lemoyne at 2-10. So conference play is winding down. Get the schedule up here. Get the schedule up. Of course, when April comes, it's almost signaling almost the end of the school year. Let's see. We had a couple games today. Only one game is final right now, I think. And Tuskegee put a hurting on Lamar on 24-2. Claflin shut out Fort Valley State 8-7 in the triple header. In the nightcap, they defeated Fort Valley State 10-7 to take that series. Those were games for today. On Friday, Benedict shut out Payne 9-0. Albany State defeated Clark 9-1. In the first game of the doubleheader. In the second game, Albany State completed the sweep of Clark, defeating them 10-9. Benedict blows out Payne 19-2. Tuskegee defeated Lamar on 13-3. And Benedict beats up on Payne College 15-4. And Claflin shuts out Fort Valley State 8-0. Over in the SWAC. Softball. All right. The East is led by Alabama A&M with a 7-2 record, followed by Alabama State at 6-3, Alcorn at 4-2, Valley at 2-6, Jackson State at 2-10. These are, of course, conference records. The West is led by Texas Southern, undefeated in the West, 6-0. Arkansas Pine Bluff with a 6-3 record. Prairie View with a 5-3 record. Southern with a 5-6 record. And Grambling State is winners in the conference at 0-8. Our weekend results for softball in the SWAC. Let's see here. Valley, our Devils got shut out by North Texas 9-0. Swept in 2 games. The second game was an 11-0 shutout. Alcorn State beat up on Jackson State 9-1. Prairie View edged out Southern 8-7. Prairie View defeated Southern in the second game 3-2 to take the sweep. On Thursday, April 5th, Jackson State and Alcorn split the series. Jackson State won the first game 6-5, and Alcorn came back with a vengeance and blew out Jackson State 18-5. Let's see, in the CIAA, because we still have a little time left. In the CIAA, Virginia State leads the conference with a 10-0 record. Chowan at 8-0. Virginia Union 6-4. Bowie State at 5-7. Elizabeth City State at 1-9, and Lincoln, Pennsylvania at 0-10 in the Northern Division. In the Southern Division, St. Aug's leads, and Shaw also tied with a 6-2 record to tie the Southern Division. Winston-Salem State and Fayetteville State tied at 4-4, and Johnson C. Smith has a 3-5 record, and Livingstone with a 1-7 record in the CIAA. Get the schedule up. In the MEAC, I hate when that happens. All right. In the MEAC, Northern Division, Morgan State and Delaware State have a 7-2 conference records. Coppin State at 8-3. Hampton University with 4-2 record. Norfolk State 5-7. Howard at 1-7. Maryland Eastern Shore is defeated in the MEAC at 0-9. The Southern Division led by the Florida A&M Lady Rattlers at an 8-1 record. Bethune-Cookman at 5-3. Savannah State at 3-3. North Carolina A&T at 4-5, and North Carolina Central at 2-6, and South Carolina State at the bottom of the Southern Division at 1-5. And that's all for softball. Got about 20 seconds left, Kels. You have anything you want to close us out with?
I don't.
All right, PP?
I'm good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. But first, before we go, I want to do this. We got to talk about this because, I want to congratulate Coach Coach Brewer. out of Morehouse for winning the Gaines Award. And also, a little sad news, Kels. We didn't get a chance to talk about this. Coach Walker.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Coach Walker left CAU for Arkansas Little Rock. I was so shocked. I was very shocked that happened. Talk to us about what do you think about Coach Walker leaving?
The unfortunate side is that we know when you start winning, what happens. And Coach Walker was only there for 2 seasons. The great thing that I can take from this is that I've had an opportunity to interview both Coach Walker and Coach Brewer. So I've had an opportunity to talk to, and Coach Walker is one of the nicest people that you would ever meet. And he literally broke down. He broke down crying when he actually, when he was talking to the guys. He really broke down crying, and he was really hurt. And we understand it's the opportunity. And for people that don't know, Coach Walker played in the NBA. Coach Walker coached, in the NBA. So it's one of those things. And then he comes back and he has, other NBA players helping that team. So they got the opportunity to see that on both sides. And then over in women's basketball, you have a Coach Yolanda Moore that played for the WNBA. So Clark has some great stuff going on, but to see him leave, so many people were hurt, but we understand from this standpoint, it's all about business, but it was definitely a hurting thing. And I got a chance to talk to someone from Clark yesterday that's, it's in administration. We had this whole conversation, but, wish him well, talk to a couple of people, and at this point, just trying to see who the next coach is going to be is what's going on. We're trying to figure out who they're going to bring in next.
Right. So, we want to wish Coach Walker well. He did a fantastic job at CAU. Gonna miss him there. I'm pretty sure you're gonna miss him, Kels. But I can't wait to see who CAU brings in. But that is the end of our show. Make sure you tune in next week. We'll have more HBCU sports news, and hopefully have some. Try to get a guest. I'm gonna see if I can get Enrique, football coach at Morehouse, who had 5-star athlete. I call him Bulldozer. Give a visit to Morehouse. So we're gonna see if we can get Coach Enrique on to talk about his experiences as an SEC running back and how he's using his experiences in the SEC to help recruit top-tier athletes to HBCUs. So once again, this is Derek Thomas in Baton Rouge, Keisha Kelly in Atlanta, and my LB Patrick Perry in the Delta. Black College Experience out. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Two, three.